To begin the Black Friday special, repeat after me. Charlotte's SouthPark Mall is not a dead mall. Charlotte's SouthPark Mall is not a dead mall. Charlotte's SouthPark Mall is not a dead mall. After a while of just staggering around dead malls, you need a palate cleanser to clear the air, your head, and in some cases your wallet. So come on, let's go to SouthPark Mall and leave our woes behind. But first, let's find our way into the mall itself. While finding our way through Belk, I would like to mention that this is, in fact, one of Belk's flagship stores. This particular one is titled Hometown, as Belk is based out of Charlotte. Don't worry, we'll get a better look at it later. Ah, there we go. There's the mall. Now then, let's get started proper. Getting its name from the surrounding neighborhood, SouthPark Mall opened on February 1970 as the brainchild of Belk and Ivy's, including a Sears to complement the others at the time. The mall also included a grocery store and a local two-screen cinema. The mall began life rather peacefully, but would face competition in 1975, specifically from the Eastland Mall, which was built on the northeast side of Charlotte. This mall had the same anchor lineup, but also included a JCPenney to bolster its ranking. Although this would shake things up for SouthPark Mall, Eastland would ultimately fade away into obscurity and become a vacant lot that hosts an occasional outdoor flea market. In the 80s, SouthPark Mall would undergo a major renovation, giving it a necessary update to keep with the times, and would also gain a new anchor in the process, Thalheimer's, which was quickly rebranded as Hecht's. Meanwhile, Ivy's would be acquired by Dillard's, and over time, nearly all traces of the name brand and its architecture would be wiped clean. The 90s would be a rough time for SouthPark Mall, facing competition from the still-going Eastland Mall, and more competition from Carolina Place. However, at the time, Charlotte would be undergoing a major population boom, which would help SouthPark Mall in the long run. But then, in 2002, Sears announced their closure at SouthPark Mall. It is unknown why they closed, but immediately after closure, Sears was demolished to make way for an outdoor area, turning the mall into an indoor-outdoor kind of hybrid. As a major positive for the mall, Nordstrom, Dick's Sporting Goods would join the mall in the 2000s, along with the Neiman Marcus. In addition, all the expansions would turn the mall into the largest mall in the Carolinas and one of the most successful malls in the country, at around $700 per square foot. This all continues today despite a crash in 2007 which destroyed a parking lot deck that was quickly repaired. Despite that negative publicity today, the mall is very solid and successful, and I don't see it dying in the immediate future. I never really had plans to go to this mall. In fact, all of this was an afterthought, as a friend of mine wanted to go to a gaming tournament at the Microsoft store. However, due to an error in the scheduling, we found out that day that the tournament was not for another 2 weeks. Although this was disappointing, I decided I might as well make the most of the situation and use my hidden camera. So as I walk around, you'll see my friend in and out of some of the shots. We'll call him Deimos. Oh, and before you ask, yes, we tried out the VR stand out front. It was a lot of fun. So, what do I think about SouthPark Mall? Well, for one, Yeah, it is kind of bland. It's been given the Simon Bleach treatment sometime in the late 2000s. But you know what? I forgive it. Because Simon still has a fountain, at least when I showed up. That, and I can't really be too mad if the mall's doing well. That, and let's get a quick peek in some of these stores, shall we? Starting with Nordstrom. Nordstrom is one of those upscale department stores you usually only see at high-end malls. Many regard Nordstrom as one of the only retailers that will survive the retail apocalypse. However, I suspect these perceptions may change, though, as recently they've been reporting quarterly losses. Perhaps all those perceptions of, quote, any mall without a Nordstrom is infinitely more likely to die, unquote, were wrong. You know, when most people are out in a mall or a fancy store like this, they're usually talking about money, business, family, politics if they're mature, everyday gossip. Me and Demos? Nope. We're talking about video games. You know, the everyday normie stuff that gamers play, like Manhunt, No Man's Sky, Doom, Scrum, Ghost Recon, even Pokemon. Okay, back to the mall. All in all, Nordstrom looks pretty nice. I doubt I can afford anything in there though. And I doubt I'd want to wear anything from there for everyday work. So just a reminder, the escalators you see in the mall itself all lead to a parking garage beneath the mall itself. This whole mall is just a single floor. The anchors though, they're all 2 or more. Belk in particular is 4 floors, making this the second time I'll have ever been in a 4-floor department store. Thankfully this one was much more elegant and in better shape. Our next department store we'll be looking at is Neiman Marcus, which has been on the fritz as of recent actually. Neiman Marcus has been in debt for a while, but there is also news of sales growth among the company. Personally, I'm not sure what to make of their future. I just hope that they're able to tough it out and get through all of this. Okay, all these butterflies hanging from the ceiling, that's a little interesting.
I know in this day and age, eating that Chick-fil-A is like some Hitler grand. It's weird because a lot of them packaging like huge.
The upper floor of Neiman Marcus had all these dining sets and sets of like fine china, but in a few seconds you'll see what was my favorite thing that me and my friend found in Neiman Marcus. These comically large decorative glass pills. Come on, Grandma, it's time for your meds. And before you ask, yes, me and my friend, we're easily entertained. We do not belong in Neiman Marcus. Wow. I didn't realize we could have this much fun with decorative glass pieces. Yeah, we definitely don't belong in Neiman Marcus. All in all, Neiman Marcus looks like a nice store, but it comes down to if you can pay off your debts or not. If you can't do that, then you won't last very long. This is part of why we keep hearing about retailers going out of business. Well, this arrangement in front of Neiman Marcus looks decent enough, at least. Although a far cry from what it might have been in the 70s and 80s, I suppose there are still some aesthetics to speak of in this mall. A quick look at the directory to see where we are, how the mall is laid out, and to remind myself that not everybody has a great sense of direction. Well, live malls have raffle cars too, although this one seems much fancier than those everyday Mitsubishis or Toyotas that you find at more troubled malls. But let me ask you, do you see yourself driving an Alfa Romeo? I don't see myself driving one. I'd be more likely to drive that Volvo.
Lego store. Oh. Food. Lush.
I am really kind of basic when it comes to mall shopping. Give me Bath & Body Works, Spencer's, a computer store, GameStop, and a JCPenney or Boscov's, and I'll be happy and entertained. This mall is full of stores and brands that I've barely even heard of, so all this is just kind of weird to me. Me and my friend just feel out of place in this mall. I mean, for God's sakes, I am a guy who's walking around with a shirt saying, "Watch closely, I'm about to do something stupid," along with a friend who's wearing a Halo hoodie. But then again, probably doesn't matter, as long as we don't do something too stupid, right? Even then, we were here for a game tournament at the Microsoft store that got botched, so I guess clothing doesn't matter, as long as we don't look like homeless or like twisted creeps.
But that is something I want to see. That is something like Wester, if I'm honest.
Alright, let's go get a bite to eat at the food court, shall we? Plenty of options at this one, and a pretzel stand to snack at too. Me, I'm gonna get a tray of Chick-fil-A. My only real gripe is that there wasn't a proper pizza joint. I mean, there was a fancy Italian restaurant that probably has it, and there was a place in the food court serving a pizza, but it was this weird flatbread ellipse thing. It wasn't bad, but still, I prefer a simple piece of the pie, you know what I'm saying? Seeing Five Guys in the mall is kind of interesting. The only other mall I've seen a Five Guys in was at the Tanglewood Mall in Roanoke, Virginia. And that mall is on some pretty hard times as is. So you may notice that I have not mentioned Macy's at this mall. Well, that's because originally Macy's was a Hecht's at this mall, and that in turn used to be Thalheimer's. You see, the May Company at the time had a habit of acquiring several brands of department stores, and would attempt to operate in most of the nameplates. However, as time went on, eventually they decided to merge all the brands under Macy's, with Bloomingdale's remaining as their high-end brand. Have you any department stores that you liked before they were quote-unquote mayonnaised? And now we're on our way back to where we started. We'll get a quick look at the fountain one more time, and then a look at Dillard's before we head on out of here. And there it is, in its plain, dull fashion. Dillard's. This was originally an Ivy's, but over time, Dillard's would come to acquire the nameplate and take over. I suppose on the upside, Dillard's has come up with a version of their arch that actually looks decent, which we'll get a quick look at on the way out. Come on. You know I gotta toss a coin into that fountain. Why not? It's going to a good cause.
And I think most people would probably realize it's more of a novelty thing than a legit.
And here we are at Belk's flagship store, Hometown. As I've mentioned before, we'll get a look at their basement floor, which, interestingly enough, still houses a restaurant. Perhaps if I ever come back next time, I'll stop for a bite to eat down there. What do you guys think? And while we're poking around in Belk, the video will come to an end shortly after. I do hope you guys enjoyed strolling through with me in this live mall for a change. I can do more videos like this if you want me to. In fact, next video, I have a double feature on one live mall and one dead mall in Beckley, West Virginia. So do stick around and subscribe if you want to see that. If you want to chat with me, the best place to do that is on the Dead Mall's Discord, which is also where you can meet a number of different dead maulers out there producing their own spin on content.
So we can get to our car?
We had to go to the third one, remember? The second door wasn't open. That I remember. I think we came from Sharon Road, but whatever.
Well guys, until next time, this is Doomie Grunt, wishing you and the SouthPark Mall
Hold up.
Farewell, and good luck.